Hunting will connect you with nature. For me, it's God, and a lot of people too, in a way that I haven't found anything else that can. Some of the most powerful moments I've had called encounters with God have been hunting. There's so many guys that I see suffering, and I'm like, God, I'd love to take you hunting.
Recently, I had a conversation with my friend and fellow hunting guide, Tom Alford, for a conversation about the role hunting played in his own personal development, mental health, and spirituality. So look, if you're someone who's interested in the way hunting can help you transform into a better person, then you're going to want to check out this episode. Get ready. It's time to enter the Wild Lab. Welcome back to the Wild Lab, everybody. I'm Ned Widener, and today I have a very special guest, big game hunting guide, booking agent, Tom Alford. He's an extraordinary hunter and an extraordinary man as well. I had the opportunity to sit down with him over a 3-day hunt last year, a couple years ago, on a bear hunt in California. And yeah, I wanted this to be an extension of some of the conversations that we had about the importance of hunting, about the masculinity, about working our way through trauma and struggles. And so, Tom, welcome to the Wild Lab, man. How are you?
Good, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here, brother. So I want to jump right into it, man. Um, you're a hunter. You're a big game hunter. You take people out on bear trips, on trips in Africa, and trips in Texas as well. Why do you hunt, man? Like what? Yeah, what brings you to it?
Yeah, so aside from my faith and my family, hunting's always been the most important thing in my life. Like my earliest childhood memory, I was 3 years old, goose hunting with my dad in Eagle Lake, Texas,
Hmm.
and I can remember all of it. And even when we got back to our house that night, um, something sparked inside of me where I saw a sense of adventure in hunting. It's not just going out and killing stuff.
Yeah.
That is part of it, but there's a sense of adventure in, that I enjoy out of it, and also I think it makes me a better person. Um, I like the wild aspect of it. I like the danger of it, and
Okay.
not crazy danger, but understand that we're not sitting on our couch while we're hunting.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and really, there's like it makes me come alive.
Okay.
And so there's a which sounds counterintuitive because we're actually in the act of killing something, but there's
Mm.
I can't remember the monk, but it's like a 14th century monk, I think. And he had this quote that said, "The glory of God is a man fully alive."
Hmm.
That always stuck with me. I heard that when I was a kid. And yeah, it made me come alive. It's something that I looked forward to. I mean, you know, when I was a kid, my friends had like their heroes were like athletes or musicians or whatever,
Hmm.
and mine were hunters. Like ever
Yeah.
since I was a little kid.
Who were some of your
'Cause,
biggest heroes, hunters growing up? Who'd you look up to?
growing up, guys, names you may not know. There was a guy named Ben Lee,
Hmm.
Noel Feather. That's when you're talking to me at like 8, 9, 10 years old. Like, I mean, I went to a hunting convention and got his autograph.
Yeah.
And all he did was put out hunting videos on TV.
Right.
Um, names you would know, like Jim Shockey.
Hmm.
Um, love that guy. I love what he
Hmm.
brings into hunting. That's not like some redneck hunter. The
Right.
guy's an adventurer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Also, the first time I've ever gotten nervous meeting somebody famous was when I met him.
Yeah.
Um, so guys like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't mean to derail it, but I am just curious about like what is it about those men that perhaps something that they embodied, or perhaps something that you saw in them that drew you to what they had or what they were offering, what they
Great
brought.
question. Um, well, a guy like Shockey, so early on, like my whole dream was to be in the hunting industry my whole life.
Really? Okay.
And I started getting into it when I was early 20s. I was writing for Texas Outdoorsman,
Hmm.
filming some hunts for them. They were paying for hunts to go on. And then I saw this. I'll turn 45 in September just to age myself. But 20 years ago, I saw this shift in the hunting industry where it was like this um, kind of redneck genre.
Mm.
Like, and it was cool to be this redneck hunter that's,
Hmm.
what was the tagline back then? Smoke that Joker. Like
Yeah.
every time they would, and I'm
Sure.
just like, it just turned me off. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah.
stand it.
Yeah.
Uh, so I still hunted for myself, but I took a step back because I'm like, if this is where the money is in this industry, I don't want to have anything to do with this. It's just not me.
Hmm. Right. Yeah,
And then I
because
started,
is it the lack of the respect for the animal that's implied in an attitude like that? Is that what you're getting at?
yeah, I think that was part of it, but also like I, um, I like the wild aspect of it. Like I like
Yeah.
the adventure of it, and you
Yeah.
just sitting in a tree stand eating ding dongs and ho hos and shooting everything that comes in. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that's just not me. And then I saw a guy like Shockey. So he had two shows. One was called The Professionals. The other one was called
Hmm.
Uncharted. And
Hmm.
he's traveling all over the world. I mean, to some rough places, all the stands, Africa, the Arctic. And I'm
Hmm.
like, that guy is an adventurer.
Yeah.
And he put out great content too. His son Brandlin, my buddy works with right now. I just never seen anything like that in the hunting
Yeah.
industry, and it
Yeah.
told a story. It was kind of like watching, like you asked who some of my heroes were. Fred
Hmm.
Bear was one of them.
Okay.
This is my dad's too. That's how my dad got into hunting, is Fred Bear.
Hmm.
But Fred Bear, I mean, it was like watching a National Geographic
Yeah. Yeah.
show on TV.
Yeah.
And this guy's
Yeah.
hunting grizzlies with a recurve in Alaska
Right.
in the '60s.
Yeah. Wild.
So he was
Wild.
wild. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm sorry, I got you off on a tangent of that of the why that you hunt, but I want to go back to that. I apologize, but like, what is it? What is it that draws you to hunting? The wildness, the adventure. Yeah, tell me more.
So it's the wildness, it's the adventure, like I mentioned. It just something comes alive in me when I hunt. Like I'm a better man for it. If I go hunt elk in the mountains for a week, like I'm mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I'm a better person when I get home. To the
Yeah.
to the point that I've even had friends and family members like mention to me, "Hey, you're different right now,"
Hmm.
um, because it does change me. Like getting that close to nature, getting that close to God, your mindset shifts, and it's not mundane, archaic things that we're having to do here in call it the real world, but the domesticated world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Out there, it's wild, man.
Yeah.
And not to use your tagline, but it's different, and so you have to
Yeah. Yeah.
think
Yeah.
about things differently and look at things differently, and yeah, and it gives you time to think. I think I've sorted out a lot of life's problems hunting, just
Yeah.
walking around in the mountains that I couldn't do here at home.
Yeah.
And I think that especially for men, that's something that's ingrained into all of us that we need to have. Like I feel like that's why we were created, was
Hmm.
to be outdoors. It's not to be
Hmm.
inside or banging away at a computer 12 hours a day.
Yeah. Well,
There's
yeah.
so many guys that I see suffering, and I'm like, God, I'd love to take you hunting. Like even the guys I took to Africa right before we met, like I had
Hmm.
so many of them come up to me and they're like, "Hey, it's one of the greatest experiences of my life," and I'm like, well, I appreciate that. And similar to your question, they're like, I've just never had an adventure like this. I've never, spent 14 days out here in
Hmm.
the wilds of Africa,
Hmm.
um, doing something like this. And it sparked something, inside of them. Like they were better for it. I had some of their wives come up to me later and they were like, hey, thank you so much for taking him on that. Like that,
Mm.
I could see the shift in him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
What do you think? I mean, we can get into all of that, but that right there is exactly why I do this. That right, not necessarily the podcast, but it's exactly why I'm building Walker School of the Wild. It's exactly why I'm doing the things, and so I appreciate you speaking to that. Because I feel it too, right? It's I can be in my animal body when I'm in the wilderness, when I'm on a screen, when I'm in traffic or whatever. It's a little bit difficult. I'm learning to drop into those spaces when I'm in, the domesticated world or second nature, whatever term we want to use. Um, but it's so much easier and it's so much more present, right? Because I'm forced to listen, I'm forced to feel and not just think, right? And I think for me at least, that's been, I don't know if you can speak to this, but like that's been a huge journey because um my I mean, I was taught to think, I was taught to be logical, to analyze, and all of those things are wonderful, and they have a need and they have a special place. They have a place in this world, right? We have to be able to analyze. We have to be able to use our brains, and I'm not discounting that. However, there was a huge part of me that was missing, right? And it was the feeling part of myself. And hunting allows me that. Hunting, fishing, a lot of outdoor activities, but especially hunting allows me to drop into that feeling space because, like, say for instance, and maybe you can speak to this because you've done a lot of like big game hunting in Africa, and I'd love to hear about that. The way that makes you feel. But I know that like if I'm tracking a bear or something, I have to physically embody, not just logically, okay, where did that bear go? But I also have to like intuit, like thinking, okay, if I was a bear, like if I lose the track, like where might it have gone? Is it going to go into this brush? Is it going to go, what is it looking for? And that requires really feeling as opposed to thinking. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it does bring up some feelings or even emotional aspects that you I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
and I'll try to communicate well. But I think a lot of guys, especially, don't want to tap into that stuff
For
sometimes.
sure. For
And
sure.
when you're out there doing that, you don't really have a choice because it's going to bring it up. And if you're going to do it well and you're actually
Mm-hmm.
engaged and you're invested into it, it is
Mm-hmm.
going to spark some fire inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I meant earlier when I said, like, I've sorted out problems. Like, I've had to deal with stuff internally out there because I'm seeing things and really feeling things differently. Um,
Yeah.
so
Can you can you
having
can you, can you tell me about any of those? Can you share?
yeah, I mean, well, I mean, some of my story. I went through a
Sure.
gnarly divorce, and I, I obviously there were people in my life that had to really be there and help me through that. That's the toughest time in my life, hardest thing I've ever been through.
Mm-hmm.
But I also figured so much out just being outdoors, um, especially being removed from that place and having to figure out what's happening internally with me and what's
Mm-hmm.
going on. So it is helping me process some stuff to what you said earlier, but it's
Sure.
looking at it from a different perspective. Um, and it's not just that in particular. Like, there have been different life events, whether it was, um, kids or struggles at work or whatever. Like, I hunt a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and that is my place to process all of what's happening in life,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what it is. Like, there have been times where I've struggled to, so I also build apartments all over the country. This
Mm-hmm.
company, me and some guys started years ago, and they allow me to hunt, which is great. But I've sorted out a lot of work stuff, whether it's,
Sure.
relationships in the office or problem solving with our equity partners or just simple things on a job site, like all that stuff there. Once I clear my head and I'm outdoors and I'm looking at it from a different perspective and really feeling the
Mm-hmm.
situation from a different perspective, it's really helped me sort a lot of that stuff out.
What do you account for that, you think? What allows for that to happen?
I think if you're fully engaged on a hunt, if you're
Mm-hmm.
outdoors, you do tap into something else, and it kind of goes back to what we said earlier. I think men. I don't care if you hunt or fish or hike or camp, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We were built to be outside, and so when you're taking that element out of our lives, and then you're throwing all this other shit at us,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's life, divorce, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
it can put you in a pretty unhealthy place. Which,
Absolutely. Yeah.
for me, if I'm in a healthy place, which is being outdoors, which is what I feel like we were made to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't look at it the same way anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and I can get through it a lot easier. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever read any David Peterson or Paul Shepard? Have you read any of them?
Mhm.
David Peterson, I think he has a podcast now. He's been on Meat Eater a bunch of times, but he's an academic who writes about hunting. He has a book. I'm gonna not get this exactly right, but spirituality, hunting, and myth, or something. I think it is. I'd read it years ago, and I was returning to it the other day and looking at it. But one of the things that he says in that book is exactly what you said, right? Which is that he's actually echoing one of the people who actually, I mean, I was an academic before I'm still an academic, but one of the people that's been most influential in my academic life is this guy named Paul Shepard, who wrote a number of books about like man in the landscape and how animals make us human, and many others. And a lot of his argument revolves around the idea that the natural world, animals make us human, hunting makes us human. He has a line in one of his books, I think it's Man in the Landscape, that hunting makes us human. And anyways, in David Peterson's book, he's echoing a lot of that, and he's saying exactly what you're saying, is that it is, and he goes beyond that. And so to say, David Peterson does, to say that not only is it that hunting makes us human, also, right, the prey that we hunt, they need that as well, which is a really interesting thing for me to think about, right? To think that the pronghorn or the deer or the prey animal requires being hunted for it to be a pronghorn. But if you think about it, though, like I think there's some truth to that, right? They wouldn't run fast. They wouldn't have that. They wouldn't have vision. They wouldn't have all those instincts. They wouldn't be whatever animal they are if they weren't being hunted.
That's really interesting, but that's actually correct. I'd love to read that book.
Yeah,
I
I'll
think
send it to you.
Yeah, I'd love to. Sometimes I don't think we look at prey that way, but that is what they're born to do. So if we're saying we were born to do this, then we should throw them in that same box. Makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. I'd love to read that book. I mean, if you look at like I love Teddy Roosevelt.
Of course.
There's a really good book called The Rise of Teddy Roosevelt, and it's like his entire life until he becomes elected. Every time the guy had a major life event, his wife died, stuff happened at home, lost an election, whatever, the dude headed out west. Sometimes for like a year and a half to 2 years, and just took these wild trips. And he was like, I had to go center myself. My wife just died. So I went out west for 2 years, and I hunted, and I fished. I got in bar fights. Maybe not that aspect of it, but the guy was like, he knew where he needed to center himself. And that guy was created for that. I mean, he was a wild man. So yeah, I think I'd love to read that book. And I think the guy's probably right too. It really does, especially with men. Just, it's something that is so needed in our lives. And I wish more men could see that. And that's why I was doing those trips. Like I've done a number of them where we take big groups of guys out and usually bring in a speaker on them and take them hunting. And because it's not just hunting, there's a lot that goes on a hunt that's outside of you walking around the mountains and killing. Some of the best
1,000%
conversations I've ever had are sitting around a campfire when we're all totally gassed from hunting our asses off all day. And the funny thing to me is some of the guys that are the most tight-lipped about what's going on in their lives, that's when everybody starts to open up.
Sure. Yeah.
And you see some pretty amazing things happen.
Yeah. It creates a brotherhood. It creates a safe space for men to feel like that they can. And, I was talking with somebody, Dewey Freeman, a week or so ago on this podcast. I don't know when that one will come out, but you said something that reminded me of something that he said earlier, or he said previously, which is that, like, I think for a lot of men, right, like we can tend to be, and I don't know about you when you were going through your divorce, but I know it was true for me. We can tend to be in victim mentalities, right? When we're going through trauma, we can, and that it's an unhealthy place for anyone. It's an unhealthy place for men. It's an unhealthy place for women. It's an unhealthy place for anyone to be in that mentality. And one of the things, and Dewey's a therapist, works with horses and things. And one of the things that he talks about is when he says that when people are in a victim mentality, he tries to move them through to a prey mentality. And then because, and think about it like this, he says, because if you're in a victim mentality, there's nothing that you can do, right? You can't you're just a victim. You're powerless. You have no agency in your own life. But if you're prey, well, you can run fast, you can see far, you can you also have probably a community, maybe a herd or a pack, or whatever that can help protect you, right? And he says from there, then we can move people from prey, then we can move people into just being, living, embodying and embodying their whole thing. And I think when you're talking about sitting around the campfire, that's what it came up for me, because I'm thinking it's this moment, like if we're living in trauma and we're living as victims, right? But then we walk with somebody like you in the woods, or anybody necessarily, but in this case it's you walking in the woods, and we're hunting and we're embodied and we're dropping into our bodily spaces and we're getting out of our heads and we're creating spaciousness. That moves us from a victim mentality into a more animal space, right? And allows that spaciousness to open up. And I think that's another reason why some men might open up around the campfire.
Yeah, I had so one of my most memorable hunts. So it was 2 years ago. I was elk hunting with some guys, and the year before that, my buddy went on this elk hunt with us, and I shot a bull the first day,
Mm-hmm.
and I killed the bull. My dad was coming into camp. I hadn't gotten to elk hunt with him in 5 or 6 years, so found the bull. I left him, and I drove like an hour and a half back to get my dad because I wanted him to be there with me.
Mm.
Took this bull out. My dad sees me, hugs me. He's like, "I haven't seen you in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you got to go check on your buddy." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Your buddy he's messed up."
Mm.
And so this is like, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I go in and I unzip his tent, and the dude's in tears.
Mm.
And I'm like, "What happened?" And he said, "Well, I went over here. I went off by myself. First elk hunt he'd ever been on. He'd only been hunting for a couple of years. And this is a rough. So we're camped at 10.6 in elevation. It's total public land. You can't bring horses in there because all the deadfalls, everything comes off on
Mm-hmm.
your back. And it's a rough hunt."
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so I got in, and the guy's like, he looks at me, tears down his cheeks. He's like, "You told me how hard this was, and I thought you were lying. I had absolutely no idea." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay." And so took him, long story short, we got my bull out, and then I helped that guy hunt for a few days, and it was rough.
Mm-hmm.
And the next year, which is 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, he's like, "Hey, I want to come back and try this again." I had some trepidation for the guy because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Man, I know what happened to you the last time." And he's like, "I will give everything I have to do this
Mm-hmm.
if you'll help me and just do it one more time." I'm like, "Okay, we'll do it
Mm-hmm.
again." We go in there, day 2 or 3, call in this bull. Guy shoots a bull with his bow. That guy that broke down and
Mm.
lost it.
Yeah.
Bull goes to the very bottom. That morning we camped
Of
at
course.
10.6. We go over a mountain. He runs straight down to the bottom
Mm-hmm.
and dies. And we're
Mm-hmm.
miles away from camp.
Right.
There's 4 of us. Only 3 of us have meat shelves on our backpack. One of the guys didn't have it. And so 3 of us took that bull off the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's head and horns and everything, which that alone weighs 60 pounds probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are 3 of us with an entire bull, and we got all the meat. So hardest load I've ever taken off. And it was one of those where you're walking like 60 yards uphill, and you
Mm-hmm.
just collapse, and one guy helps the other guy stand up because he's got so much weight on him. And this guy did it. So the guy had trained the whole year for that hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, 300 yards from camp, his legs they quit working.
Mm.
And we had to make tent poles for him. And I didn't know
Wow.
this, but I offered to get his backpack.
Mm-hmm.
The other 2 guys I was with offered to take his pack, and he refused. He was like,
Mm.
"No, I'm going to do this."
Yeah.
And sorry, it kind of makes me emotional even thinking about this, but
Yeah. Yeah.
so that guy, we go all the way back into camp, and the dude he collapses when we make it back. He's in tears.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, talking around the campfire, like immediately I'm like, "Get this meat off of me, get these clothes off of me," because it was like a 6 or 7 hour hike out, and I'm going to bed. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. I'm going to bed. I'm done. And that guy came over and he just raps on my tent. He's like, "Hey, you need to have a drink with me." And I'm like, "Bro, I don't want to have a drink with you, man." I'm like, "I want to go to bed right now. I'm wiped
Yeah.
out." He's like, "No, no, no." He's like, "Come have a drink with me." And I sat there, and that guy, tells me what the last 5 years of hell have been like for him.
Hmm.
He's like, I had to do this.
Yeah.
He's like, you asked me to take your pack. Leif asked me, Wes asked me, and I told him all no.
Yeah.
He's like, because I had to do this for myself. But the guy starts to just unload on all this shit that his family has been going through, and
Hmm.
it's rough, like really rough. Some of it was in the public eye, which I didn't
Mm.
even know, like on TV and newspapers. And
Mm.
so I sat there with that dude for 2.5 hours and sipped on a margarita.
Hmm.
Not a good idea when you're that
I
high
was
up.
gonna say, who brought the margaritas to the
That's
to?
why I said sipped.
Yeah.
Another guy did,
Yeah.
and he just. But I felt for that guy so much that wouldn't have happened in any other situation
Yeah.
that I can think of. And that guy is one of my best friends to this day.
Hmm.
Uh, But without hunting, without being out in a wild place like that, without going through some really tough stuff, like he would have never said that to me, you know? And I was so proud of that guy. And honestly, I watched his life the last 3 or 4 years or 2 or 3 years and seen what
Hmm.
he's done. And
Hmm.
his mindset is so shifted. Um, like that challenged him and made him a better man. He got to unload a bunch of stuff. He got to
Yeah.
see that I could do things that I shouldn't be able to accomplish. His legs literally quit working. Like he could not pick them up anymore.
Yeah.
Um, Personally, from that pack out, I lost feeling in half of my foot.
Wow.
So three of my toes, I couldn't even feel them for a year.
Wow. For a
That's how
year.
gnarly that pack out was
Wow.
for a,
Wow.
yeah, I was pretty concerned. Um, but yeah, I just, like, those are the hunts that I'm grateful for. It's not killing, like, I've killed some big stuff. I don't even care.
Hmm.
That's not me. I don't hunt for wall jewelry. It's
Right.
not my thing. I,
Right.
do have some, I think probably
Sure.
in for him, but that's not why.
Hmm.
I hunt because I want to have conversations like that with people that I really care about. And that's why I like doing this. That's why I took those guys to Africa. That's why I take men hunting in Texas and Mexico and all over the place. Like,
Yeah.
it's for that.
Yeah.
It's not just to go out and blast everything that moves.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's and honestly, brother, that's why I wanted to have you on the pod, because I think there's men like you and that hunt for those reasons. I mean, I think that's why we should be doing things, as opposed to what you were talking about earlier, right? Which is, that's, I mean, everyone has their own reasons, and I'm not going to judge anything, but like that it resonates with me. Your reasons resonate with me, and they are very, very similar. And I just think I'm thinking about your friend, and that must have been it must have been so amazing for him. And I just wonder, like, how often he reflects back on that moment, or that is longer than a moment, but that those days of doing something so difficult that he probably thought that he couldn't do, but that he did, right?
Yep.
And that's that's a big part of this, man. I mean, that's a huge part of this. Is You're right. It's not about, I mean, I think if when we kill something, that's great, and I think that's a bonus. Um, but it's about, for me at least, it's about doing hard things and immersing myself in an ecosystem, right? And immersing myself in a as another wild animal in an ecosystem. That's why it makes, like you said, it makes me feel alive. Yeah. I want to circle back to something you said in your very first answer. You said that hunting also connects you to God. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Um, it goes back to, I feel like it's what God made me to do personally. So I'm
Hmm.
not even going to speak for, I do think that we're ingrained to do things that are outdoors, but for me personally, I know that's what he made me to do.
Hmm.
Uh, I do believe in God, and I
Hmm.
always have. Um, some of the most powerful moments I've had called encounters with God have been while I've been hunting. Um, Two of the most powerful ones I've had were in Africa. One of them, my son was there, And I'm gonna probably not talk too much about that one because it's deeply personal to both of
Sure.
us.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's almost like honoring him to
Mm-hmm.
me. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you created this, you made us to do this, and I want to honor you while I'm here and
Mm-hmm.
give you everything that I've got.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that's hunting. Like for me, that's
Mm-hmm.
what I feel like he made me to do. For a runner, it may be running for you, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, pick your poison if you want to look
Mm-hmm.
at it that way. But I've sorted out so much stuff with him, and I think when you take a step back, like even me, when my marriage is like crumbling and falling apart, I felt like when I was hunting with him, and it was just he and I,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "Hey, I got you. I've
Mm-hmm.
got you. I see
Mm-hmm.
you. Don't
Mm-hmm.
think you've been. I'm not seeing you." But I needed, you got so much stuff going on in your life, and kids, and work, and all this stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
when you're out in nature and it's just you and him, for me, it's totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's no other distractions.
Mm-hmm.
So for me personally, I'm almost forced to talk to him
Mm-hmm.
uh, and deal with whatever's happening in my life. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In those spaces, yeah, in the wild spaces for sure. Yeah, and I think that's similarly true for myself, and I think a lot of other people as well.
mhm.
Yeah. Um, can you talk a little bit? You mentioned your father a few times. Can you talk a little bit about what? And maybe I know you don't want to talk about necessarily the Africa trip with your son, but I wonder if you can talk about the father son dynamic a little bit in hunting, and how that can help create a stronger bond, a better relationship between father and son. Because I think that's, if we're talking about masculinity, if we're talking about men and hunting, like that's a father son bond is a huge one. So,
Yeah, yeah, and I don't mind talking about Africa with my son's been over there with me multiple times. I started
right.
taking when he was 11, but to your question, my dad growing up, so we did not get along
Mm-hmm.
at all unless we were hunting. That was when we got along. And I don't know why. I can't even explain it to you. Like I've thought about it. I don't know how many times, but um, we were just two totally different people, man.
Mm-hmm.
He was, when I was originally growing up, he was a Southern Baptist preacher, very strict religious household.
Mm-hmm.
Not my cup of tea. I was your typical wild preacher's kid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he would always take me hunting because he knew how much I loved it. And that was like our bonding point and our connection. And I realized probably when I was like 12 or 13 that we would argue all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we were hunting, we never argued, never said a cross word.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too, we were so focused on hunting, the mission, getting the job done, that we
Mm-hmm.
didn't really think about the other, things in life that we had strife with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I always, aside from us not getting along that well, I always loved him for that. Like I
Mm-hmm.
always respected him, and I think he saw the same thing. Like he knew if this is the only way I'm going to connect with my kid,
Mm-hmm.
by God, we're going to go hunting a lot.
Yeah.
And we did. And he sacrificed time and finances. We didn't have a lot of money growing up,
Mm-hmm.
because he was a pastor,
Mm-hmm.
but we would scrape by to go on an elk hunt. And I remember one year, like I was 14, and it was the first year I could legally hunt elk in Colorado. My dad was like, "Hey, look, I mean, we were living on like beef jerky and sourdough bread on these
Mm-hmm.
hunts and coming up with gas money." He's like, "We can't afford it." And somebody had given me a Mickey Mantle baseball when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and I sold the baseball
Mm-hmm.
to pay for our hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And it was two things. One, I wanted to go hunting, but I also knew like if I get to go and spend time with my dad for a week in the mountains,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to have a good time together. And so I knew it'd be good for both of us. So I sold it, and I have no regrets about doing it. And uh, I bought a mule deer tag with it. He bought
Mm-hmm.
an elk tag, and
Mm-hmm.
I shot a mule deer. Um,
Yeah.
and then with my son, like I've been taking him since he was 3, like
Three.
on
Wow.
legit hunts. Yeah.
Yeah. Was
Not saying
he
everybody.
was he holding a gun or yeah, or a bow at 3? No, he was just coming with you.
No, he
Yeah.
was. He wasn't holding a gun. Probably gonna get some crap for this, but I don't really care. He shot his first animal when he was 6.
Okay.
And I was at a ranch that I leased in South Texas. We had about 10,000 acres on the border.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he really started hunting. But his whole life before that, I mean, he was outside with a pellet gun all day, like gave him shooting lessons, talked to him about gun safety. So he started hunting big game, yeah, when he was 6 years old
Wow.
with a legit rifle that he could actually kill stuff with that wasn't going to wound everything in sight.
Right, right, right.
He's been a crack shot his whole life, and then he started bow hunting, probably 9, I think.
Wow.
So I rigged up a bow for him, really heavy arrow, really sharp broadhead,
Mm-hmm.
fixed head so he could penetrate, only let him take shots within inside of like 15 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he killed his first animals when he was 11
Mm-hmm.
in Texas. So he shot an axis doe and he shot a whitetail buck.
Mm-hmm.
He was 11 that same year.
Wow.
And I've taken him all over the place. Um, he's been to Africa with me a couple times. I killed a Cape buffalo over there with a bow. It's like a 2-year trip.
Mm-hmm.
I worked on, so I had to build the bow, build the arrows. I took him with me,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a professional hunter, a PH, that was backing me up with an elephant gun
Mm-hmm.
as a 416 in case the buff charged. And then I had my son about 100, 150 yards behind us with another man that
Mm-hmm.
was protecting him just in case. And that may sound a little crazy to take an 11-year-old kid on a Cape buffalo hunt, but it was dialed in logistically,
Mm-hmm.
safety. We were good. There were a number of different things I did just to make sure that everybody was okay.
Right.
And the man that I left him with said, "I will trade my life for your son's."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Okay, that's pretty good odds. I trust that."
Yeah.
But yeah, I want my kids to go everywhere with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the guy that has kids and like that's it. I want them to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, my son has had encounters with God hunting and told me
Mm-hmm.
about them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's really important. And again, that's the only time I really got along with my dad. So
Mm-hmm.
we did a lot of that growing up.
Yeah. So it sounds like, I mean, it sounds like it's a, it is it the foundation for your bond, but with your son? I mean, it sounds like, or at least, maybe not the foundation, but it sounds like it's a huge part of the relationship. Yeah.
I wouldn't say the foundation, but it's definitely a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Um, he looks forward to it every
Yeah.
time we go. And I think I just see him as a better kid. I mean, you're a 15, 16-year-old kid today with all
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that you've got thrown at you, especially a boy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you got access to shit on your phone that we never had access to, Ned,
For sure. No,
growing up.
no,
And,
it's, yep.
yep.
I'm thankful to not grow up in this
Mhm.
day and age for sure. Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, you go to Africa for 2 weeks, all your screens are gone.
Right.
Like I'm like, I can see you change, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I love you. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I feel great, Dad. This is amazing. I'm like, uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe let's just lay off the screens a little bit when we get home. He's
Yeah.
like, or we can just go hunting more. I'm like, okay, do whatever you want. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's beautiful, brother. I love that. Yeah. I think it to have, I mean, for myself, my relationship with my own father has been fraught over the years, although we've done a lot of work and it's definitely improved. And we get along pretty well. And like you, though, it was fishing for us. My father wasn't much of a hunter, but he was a fisherman. And when I was younger, fishing was it, it was the only place that we could not argue or not
Yeah.
fight, where our relationship was just two men or a man and a boy. And a lot of times in the woods or in the river, being human, being animals, being ourselves, and all of the other things from our lives, from society, were we didn't bring them with us, or at least
Mhm.
we didn't bring them up. At least, they were
Yeah.
left behind in that moment. Yeah. Yeah. So when there's this moment, and I've talked about this with other people, right? Of and we've touched around it a little bit, but you said, hunting makes you feel alive, and it's ironic because we're actually there to kill,
Yep.
right? What can you talk a little bit about the actual act of killing and what perhaps what that means to you, perhaps yeah, maybe a story around that describes not just the emotions but the meaning behind the actual act of killing in a hunt, because it is a big part of it. We say we're not there to do it, and yes, I agree with that. And yet still, if it's the right time and if it's the right moment and if the feeling is right, we take the shot, right?
Mm.
And so what do you think for men, maybe, and for yourself, that that act of taking a life can provide for us?
Well, it is part of it, and I'm happy you said killing and not harvesting.
Yeah.
As I listen to these these guys dance around, even on podcasts, like I
Mhm.
harvested this animal, and I'm like, nah, you killed it.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. I mean, if you don't feel something when you're taking an animal's life, I've got an issue with that.
Mhm.
Uh, I've guided some guys like that. It's pretty creepy, to be
Mhm.
honest. Um, that adrenaline rush that they call buck fever, but you get it if you're hunting anything.
Mhm.
It, it's the it. There's a lot of different people that say where that comes from. It's because you're taking another animal's life.
Yeah.
It just is, and
Yeah.
you can say no, it's not, or it doesn't bother me. The day it quit, the day I don't get that rush.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying like a good rush. It's an
Sure.
adrenaline dump that you get into your body. That's the day I quit hunting. I'm just
Right.
not going to hunt anymore because that then I would be really concerned
Mhm.
with that.
Mhm.
But you do always feel something. It's okay to feel something, and I
Mhm.
think a lot of guys are bothered by it. Or,
Mhm.
I mean, I've had dudes break down after
Yeah.
taking an animal's life.
As have I. Yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and I'm like, they didn't regret it, but
Right.
they were also like, I didn't know it was going to impact me like that.
Yeah.
Um, I try to hunt as humanely as possible. And so the guy was guiding up here last weekend. I told him we were hunting wild boar.
Mhm.
I'm like, shoot until he quits moving.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not going to have the animal run off. I'm not going to have him wounded. And that bothers a lot of people. I have seen some crazy stuff happen with hunting. I've seen animals drop
Mhm.
and then 5 minutes later stand up because they work out the spinal shock and run away. And then we're chasing that animal down for 2 days.
Mhm.
Uh, my goal was to take them down as quickly and as efficiently as possible,
Mhm.
which means usually keep hitting them until they're done.
Mhm.
Um, I, but yeah, if you don't feel something, I don't know what to say to you. Really, you probably need to go talk to somebody, maybe a shrink.
Mm.
So it is real.
Mhm.
You really are killing another animal, and you're taking another life.
Yeah.
Um, and there's no dancing around that. There's no excuses for it. That's exactly what you're doing
Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah.
So and really, you know, so my friend's in Africa right now.
Mhm.
And I just booked him a hunt over there. He killed a kudu, and somebody saw the picture and they were like, "Oh, that's so he's sporting. He's not hunting." I'm
Mhm.
like, "What?" Very trying to be very polite to this individual, and
Mhm.
she's like, that's sport. That's not hunting."
Mhm.
She's like, "Well," I'm like, "What do you mean by that?" "Well, you aren't eating the meat." I'm like, "No, they consume every last bit of that.
Mhm.
Every single piece of that animal is being eaten aside from the hide and the horns.
Mhm.
Like, what do? You can't eat all that meat." I'm like, "Yeah, there's two schools that we support in Africa where
Mhm.
if we didn't give them this meat, they wouldn't have anything over
Mhm.
here." It's not sport. It's not like you're just running around and killing stuff
Mhm.
without any remorse or regard for what you're doing. Um, and I think people need to know that before they go hunting too. Like, you're gonna feel something. It would be honestly scary if somebody went out and shot an animal without thinking, I'm gonna experience some of these feelings and emotions. Like, it, it's gonna be a bit of shock when you do because you're gonna
Absolutely.
feel it all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's, as far as the whole killing harvest debate, I use the word killing because, like you said, it is what we're doing, and I feel pretty strongly that our society um, not necessarily our culture, but our society, we hide death in a lot of different ways, right? And I'm not saying that death is, like I don't enjoy killing anything. Any animal's life that I've ever taken, I don't enjoy it. Like it's actually my least favorite part of the entire thing. And there's a lot of grief that always comes up for me in that, and that's good. Like I think there should be, and at least for me. Um, but I think I use that word killing because I think it is, we hide death in so many ways, from the food that we eat to the way that we treat our elders, and shoving death into places where we don't actually have to confront it, where we don't actually have to look at it, right? Because it is. I mean, look, brother, it's when you're staring down at an animal that you've killed, it's a very real reckoning that happens in that moment. I mean, that should happen in that moment, because you've ended a life, right? That is a part of, and the way I always think of it is like, you know, um, a deer, a bear, an elk, whatever. It's a part of that mountain. It's a part of that woods. Like it's eating the berries, it's eating the seeds, it's eating the grass, and like it's taken on the energy of all those things. And when you take that life, like a part of that mountain is dying, a part of that wilderness, and part of that wild is dying, and also, but also being reborn at the same time as well, right? It's not just an end; it's also a beginning at the same time. And I think there's a gravity to that, and there's a weight to that, and I think that's really, really. I think it's important to recognize it, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, I don't know for you, when you've taken people out, perhaps. I mean, when you've taken people out who maybe have never killed an animal, never, I was just going to say harvest in that moment because we're actually talking about the harvesting part of it, but who've never actually killed an animal and never butchered one. Uh, what have you seen from people, like perhaps that first moment that they actually are required to butcher an animal? Have you seen anything come up for people in that moment?
As far as butchering, I mean, um, it's a mixed bag. I would say a lot of the guys that have never hunted before,
Hmm.
most of them want to be very hands-on,
Yeah.
and I'm looking for them to ask questions. Like I try to explain, this is why I'm doing this and this is why I'm doing that.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't get a lot of people that are squeamish, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I can kind of tell if a guy's going to be that way.
Hmm.
I still want him to put his hands on the animal. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do all this for you. Sorry. Um, I've hunted with guys that are like that, and that really bothers me.
Mm.
Um, but um, I've never met somebody that was disappointed after they did it. I've never met somebody that was upset and quit hunting. 99% of the guys are like, I've got to do this again. This
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, usually they just jump right in and go after it.
Yeah.
I have a thing, like if I guide a lot of guys and have for 20 plus years, but I will never touch that animal until that guy puts his hands on it.
Hmm.
I've had a couple rare cases where the guy didn't want to. I don't hunt with those guys anymore.
Hmm.
But for the most part, like they understand what they just did.
Hmm.
There's a lot of humility with a lot of these guys too.
Hmm.
I love the guy that's like, hey, I don't know anything about this.
Hmm.
Like, show me what to do.
Hmm.
The guy that's like, oh, I know how to do X, Y, and Z, or I've never missed. I can shoot so well. That guy scares the shit out of me. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
you're gonna miss, you're gonna
Yeah.
wound, you're gonna do something dumb.
Yeah.
I love when people ask questions. I love teaching people about stuff,
Hmm.
as it relates to hunting, butchering,
Hmm.
packing out, everything.
Yeah. Well, I asked that question because I know when I've seen other people that have butchered an animal for the first time, like it's a very there's a moment that happens that at least that they've explained to me, that like um where it all just kind of comes together, because like you said, they put their hands on it and they sink the knife in, and they're like, oh holy shit, like this is actually, it's very real. It becomes very real and very embodied. And then that's when the moment comes where, at least, sometimes where, like, okay, then the appreciation comes, because a lot of times before that there's a lot of that adrenaline, there's a lot of anticipation, there's a lot of expectation, and then it all settles into this moment where we're butchering the animal, and it's like, oh shit, okay, this is very real. And now the pack out starts, if we're in the West, right? And so then the work actually begins as well. um
That's a good thing to say. I actually have had a couple guys take the knife over there for the first time,
yeah.
and there's some hesitation, and then I'm like, hey, we want to cut here. We're gonna take this off. We're gonna get this out, and you see the guy stand like this with the knife in his hand for a second, and then the minute he's trepidatious per
Hmm.
se, but the minute he starts cutting, he's like, okay,
Yeah.
I what next? What
Right.
next? And then you see it start to click in their head. Okay,
Yeah.
because yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys have never done that with anything other than maybe trimming a ribeye. Then they're
Right, which is
taking
which is very, very different. I mean, it's not even remotely the same. There's no animal there. I mean, it's a piece of meat, but it's
there's
not. It might as
it's a
well have
piece of
been grown.
muscle.
Yeah, piece
Yeah,
of muscle. Yeah, that's all it is.
yeah,
It's very, very different.
yeah.
Um, but I wanna, I just want to touch on one thing that you said there, and I'm wondering if you could expand on it, because I know what you mean, but I just want to make sure the listeners know what you mean. Why is it that if you're taking a guy hunting and he kills an animal, why would you wait for him to put his hands on it first?
I want to honor the guy, but I also want to honor the animal. It's not mine.
Yeah.
Like you did that, and so I expect you to go over there and um, this is yours. Like
Mhm.
you did this. You need to feel this and experience this and understand this. I've had guys literally shoot one and like I'm sitting like 10 feet back and they will turn that thing over back and forth multiple times, run their hands over every inch of that animal.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I give them time to do that and
Mhm.
let them kind of soak it all in. Usually it's
Mhm.
pretty quiet when that happens. Like we're kind of that guy that shot that bull in New Mexico a couple
Mhm.
years ago. I mean, he walked up to it and it was just, the guy's very emotional. Um, and so me and three other dudes or two other dudes just sat back for like 10 minutes
Mhm.
while he just held on to it. And
Mhm.
it was a lot more from him than just killing too. And then he was like, hey, I want to record a message to my daughter.
Oh, beautiful.
Today's her birthday. And I said, okay.
Beautiful.
And so we sat there and
Yeah.
that probably, so I don't think we even started cutting for 20 minutes or so,
Mhm.
maybe longer, just
Mhm.
while he could soak it all in. So
Mhm.
that's important to me. The guy, there was a gentleman I do not hunt with anymore. I will not take him hunting, and it sucks because he paid really well.
Mhm.
But he will not touch the animal when he shoots it.
Mhm.
He
Mhm.
doesn't want to have anything to do with it.
Mhm.
He will take a photo with it if
Mhm.
the guide sets it up for him perfectly, and he wants
That's
all the angles and yeah, I'm like, no, we're good, man. To each his own. That's just not me.
I
Um,
it's not me either, Tom. Yeah.
I will for the guy, but I'm like, just
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. That I really don't understand that, to be quite honest with you. Yeah. That's not.
I guided in South Texas when I started. Saw some interesting people down there. I saw some legit hunters, and I saw guys that just wanted wall jewelry. And these guys
Mhm.
are coming in with more money than you can shake a stick at, and
Mhm.
pretty much just want to drink and get wasted the whole time, and then shoot stuff.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but there were enough of them that it really burned me bad. And
Yeah.
I could tell you crazy stories. So I quit doing that for a while and I started working with a group in Texas called Operation Orphans.
Mhm.
And this game warden had set it up in the 60s and they still do it. They take orphan and foster kids hunting.
Mhm.
And all these ranches donate their time, money, animals, everything.
Hmm.
You want to talk about coming alive with
Hmm.
somebody? Those kids out there, like it was, and so the way that hunt works is like you go and meet with them, you stay overnight at this camp that they've got, and then you spend 3 days with that kid, two
Oh,
and a
wow.
half days,
Wow.
and you just hunt with them. You talk to them about life and the stuff that was, I mean, some of the things those kids were telling me about their life, how they grew up. Like,
Mhm.
one, that's not a conversation they're going to have with me
Mhm.
unless we're out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Uh, some of them were some pretty rough stories.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them were inner city kids too,
Mm-hmm.
who never get to experience something like that. Um, and I saw it just changed their lives. Like
Mm.
we had kids that were in that foster and orphan program that ended up coming back, and now they guide
Oh, really? Wow.
20 years later. Yeah,
And what's this organization called? I've never heard of it.
it's called Operation Orphans.
Operation Orphans. Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's super interesting. Um, I might have to check them out. That sounds absolutely something that's up my alley. Yeah.
Yeah, I can send you their info.
Yeah, please.
They're an
Yeah.
awesome group, and anybody can guide for them. You just got to be vetted,
Mm-hmm.
kind of know what you're doing. They don't, want any
Mm-hmm.
some creepy dude coming out there, but it's run really well.
Clearly, obviously, for good
Yeah.
reason. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's a nonprofit too. Like all they're doing
Right.
is pouring into these kids' lives. It's
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Oh,
So,
that's
but my point to
beautiful.
that was that is a totally different hunt than the guy that will not touch the animal and wants to just come down there and get shit faced drunk,
Yeah.
um, and go home with some wild jewelry. I'm past that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said at the beginning of this, that's not why you hunt, right?
no.
You hunt to be a better man. You hunt to be connected to God. I mean, using your words, but yeah,
Yep.
that's why you hunt. Well, Tom, I want to be respectful of your time. Um, I want one last question. If there's something you would like to leave listeners with about the importance of hunting, or about the like what hunting can offer men to be better men, perhaps, what would you say to them?
I would say that it does something. It Hunting will connect you with nature. With For me, it's God, and a lot of people too, in a way that I haven't found anything else that can.
Hmm.
Um, the outdoors will connect you. It just does. Even if it's not hunting, fishing, camping, hiking, whatever. The other thing I would say is there's so much trepidation with a lot of guys because they're afraid. I don't know anything about this. What's it going to look like? Just go out in the woods.
Hmm.
Just figure it out. Be willing to fail. You either win or you learn.
Yeah,
Um, it's okay. You don't have to get everything right. You're going to mess up. No one, like I mess up all the time.
you're gonna mess
Uh,
up.
just go do it, man.
Yeah.
Just go. These guys that want to go on these elk hunts, they feel like they've got to spend 10 years getting all the information and figuring out what to do and where to go.
Hmm.
Just go grab your bow and go out in the woods.
Right.
And if you don't see anything in a week, you're going to come back a better person for it.
Yeah.
You're going to love it. Um, it's okay, but just get after it and don't wait.
Yeah.
You know, I talk to so many guys all the time and they're like, oh, I'll do it when I eventually can or do it. No, don't wait.
Hmm.
I'd rather make another sacrifice in my life than have to give that up or wait at all to not get to do what I've seen make me come alive, make other men come alive.
Yeah.
Um, it's worth it.
Yeah. 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 Don't wait. And there's lessons to be learned from sitting in the mountains with a bow for a week and not seeing anything. I mean, first, you're not gonna not you might not see an elk, but you're not gonna not see anything. You're gonna see something,
Yeah,
right?
you will,
Like, you will
for
see
sure.
something, and you will learn something, and something will happen.
Yeah. Honestly, the harder hunts are what made me a better hunter. And I think a lot of guys would say that,
Oh, for
where
sure.
it's just like you hardly see anything. So you're having to hunt even harder and work even harder.
Hmm.
And you will see something. It's going to make you a better person. You either win or you learn. It's one of my favorite quotes.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's it, man. I was just telling you before we jumped on about the recent hunt in Idaho that was very difficult, where I saw some things, but not really. It was really, really, really hard. And I learned more there than I have in a long time. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and
Yeah.
that's it, man. Yeah. Well, Tom, thank you, brother. I really appreciate you sitting down with us. If I don't know if we didn't talk about this, but I don't know if you want to be found, but if people want to find you, how can they find you? If maybe they want to go on a hunt with you or something, like, yeah, where can they find you?
Social media is probably the easiest. So it's Thomas Alford Hunting
Okay.
on Instagram, and it's got links to everything I'm doing there, email, different hunts that we offer.
Okay.
So,
All right. Cool. Thank you, brother. Well, good luck. Good luck out there this season. I'm sure. I hope you guys have a really successful season, and Yeah, maybe I'll make it up. Maybe I'll make it out to make it out hunting with you again soon, man. I'd love that.
I'd love that. Hey, I really like what you're doing, and it was good. Even the conversations we were having in the truck on that hunt. But
Yeah,
I'm really excited for what you're bringing to the world. It's gonna
yeah.
be really good.
Well, thank you, brother. I really, really appreciate it. Until
Yeah.
next time, my friend. We'll see you later.
All right.
All
See you,
right.
dude.
Bye. Thanks for listening to The Wild Lab. If today's conversation stirred something in you and you're ready to connect to your own inner wildness, then check us out online on Instagram at Step Into Your Wild, or go on over to www.stepintoyourwild.com to learn more about our coaching services and wilderness academies offered through Walker's School to Wild. Look, this is real work for real people who want to live with more clarity, more purpose, and more strength. But you don't have to figure it out alone. Let's walk this road together. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and stay wild.